everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I've been wanting to create educational content for a long time now, so I am going to first start by dropping some of the best content I can think of so that you'll subscribe and stay a while. But first things first, I really wanted to go over 5 things I've learned in the 5 years of running my own business. And a little bit about me, if you don't know, I run and own a small design studio called Nice People. We're a team of about 6, sometimes 8, sometimes 10 people, depending on workload and how many people we need. I have been a designer for 13 years, and about 7 years into that, I ended up quitting my day job. I'd worked at design studios and advertising agencies as a designer, got a lot of experience from that, and then decided I wanted to own my own studio. I started Nice People 5 years ago, as you read here. So these are going to be the 5 main overarching things that I've learned in the 5 years of running my own business. One more caveat, it's also a little bit about expanding my business. And I kind of like to think of these as not so groundbreaking things, depending on your skill level and how long you've been doing this. So just an added caveat. Some of this might be stuff you already know. And one more note, a few side lessons under those. So let's get started. Starting with point number 1, how to avoid unhappy clients. So I've had my fair share of unhappy clients. I've had clients not happy about the design. I've had clients not happy with the development process. But really there's 2 main reasons this happens, and it's either them or it's you. But remember, you're more in control than you think. When it's them, you know, the kind of person that wakes up completely stressed out, looking for the negativity in everything. These kind of people are everywhere, but you can control your narrative, redirect their feedback, turn it into positive ones, ask them specific questions during a feedback process so that you can find out what they do like about the design or what they do like about something, and that way we can focus on the positive too. I'd also say talk it out on a call. In my experience, clients are usually more bold in emails than they'd ever be on a call. So sometimes having a feedback call, depending on the personality of the client, sometimes works better so that you can really hear their tone on a call. And then I would say wait before responding. If a client sends a heated email, give it at least 24 hours before responding. Sometimes I'll even respond in a draft that they'll never receive, just so that I can get a clearer picture, a better picture of how I'm feeling about the situation and how to better address it. And then set boundaries. Help them know it's not okay to treat you and your team a certain way. When it's you, this can sometimes be a hard pill to swallow, or it takes a level of awareness. Gaining their trust is essential. Help them understand the process. What's next, exact dates. I would also say manage their expectations. And if the project took a turn that you didn't expect, offer up something valuable to them. Lesson number 2, how to avoid unreliable contractors and employees. This happens. Sometimes the people that you're hiring might not be reliable, and they don't have as much risk in the project as you do. In fact, I've had a developer who was set up to work on 2 projects. Deposits were paid. She was working on both projects. We were only about 1 to 2 weeks away from delivering one of the test sites to the client. And she told us she couldn't work on them anymore because she accepted a full-time job that would require her full attention. I was shocked, to say the least. This left me with 2 unhappy clients, thanks to my contractor, which fell on me. So my tips or biggest takeaways are hire cautiously. Don't just trust your friend who says they know someone. That happened several times for me, and it's a nice idea to find someone fast, but sometimes a thorough search is what will prevent these things from happening. Vet contractors as much as possible. Decide who is client facing and who isn't. Always add a financial buffer for issues like this. That one developer story ended up costing me in the end, and I wish that I had a little bit more of a buffer in the budget to work with something like that. And then be prepared with backup people. It's good to check in on other schedules, especially if the timeline is tight or rushed. Having one person that you know is a go, having one more person as a backup that is aware of the project is sometimes a good scenario to set yourself up with. Lesson number 3, how to avoid financial issues. Oh, this is a big one. I built my business in a way that had several projects taken care of while I'd be on maternity leave. I had budgets in place and plans to have people continue working while I was out. I came back 3 months later to find out we had been breaking even and there wasn't any funds left to pay myself. Wah wah. I haven't read every book out there, but there are 2 books that saved me during this time. Profit First, which talks a lot about how to set up your budgets, how to run a profitable business. And that was really helpful for me in figuring out my finances of the business, what's supposed to go where, allocating budgets, what percentages I should always rely on that would be allocated for certain things. So I highly recommend Profit First. And the second book that really helped with financial issues is Never Split the Difference. This is a way to effectively negotiate with people, especially as you're talking with clients and figuring out the total cost of a project. So this can be big for finances and making sure you're getting paid enough and that you're also aren't overpaying. Both of these books have been a huge resource for me. Lesson number 4, how to avoid deceitful clients. I have a little switched title for this one, how to avoid the Anna Delveys and Elizabeth Holmes of the world. We had a client who was really excited about a project. We got started right away. It was a bit of a rush project. And so we were hit the ground running, go, go, go. We sent her a second invoice and she was late. We sent her a third invoice while the second one was still unpaid. But once we had sent her that, we decided to put a stop to the work, and we had done more than halfway of the project, basically at that point. And she convinced us that the money was coming, and we almost kept working. But in the end, turns out she never had the money. There were a lot more things happening behind the scenes that we weren't aware of, that she was not transparent about. And we were not able to finish the project for her. And still have yet to be paid by this client. So obviously not an ideal situation to be in, but here are some of my takeaways that will help you to avoid getting into those situations too. Set up a new process in place. Once I saw what happened there, I ended up switching some processes around, making sure that we were getting paid more often, and kind of noticing that if we were paid more often in that one story, we probably would have noticed that she didn't have funds. The second point, don't spend if you don't have the client's funds. That was a stupid mistake on my part, but I kept paying contractors as we were moving forward, and I was paying contractors funds that didn't come from this project. So of course that made us go in the red. For startups, have a legal proof of funds verification before working. Fourth point, watch for red flags. I saw some of the flags there and I ignored them. And then the fifth point is to research potential clients. So this was another story that I have about a year ago or over a year ago. A client that we worked with is very well known. This particular client was difficult to please in a it's them kind of way. And they had a skewed vision of what good design was. We couldn't agree. We were on the same page. They ended up firing us and sent through a horrible legal document. And I looked them up on Glassdoor, and it turns out tons of employees from this company had some very honest reviews about the company culture, about the CEO. And I should have looked that up beforehand. I should have listened and seen those red flags beforehand, because turns out my experience working with them was just the same as all of these other employees. So if you have a potential client coming on and you need to research them, Google them, look them up on Glassdoor. You never know what you'll see or find out about some of these clients, and do your research. How to avoid calling it quits. So I feel like this issue comes and goes for me. There are days I'm crying about and questioning everything, and there are days when I feel like I can do anything. Running a business is hard. Why? Because you're constantly being challenged and learning and growing. You're facing the uncomfortable because it leads to results. The initiative to grow and build comes from you, and the decisions that you make have important, tangible impacts on the bottom line. That's a lot of pressure. Something I'm still working on are self-care days. Some days are met with one too many negative emails. Don't be afraid of canceling calls and taking the rest of the day off. I would also say pace yourself. This is a marathon. Pacing yourself will help you to avoid burnout. Constantly remind yourself the why. Why are you doing this? What is the biggest purpose? And keep being driven by that why. And then the fifth is look for a change of pace or start a passion project. I've heard a lot of studio owners doing this. This has been a really helpful thing for them in terms of putting more passion behind their business, behind their purpose, and creativity. And as creatives, we thrive off of passion. So, in summary, with all of these 5 big key main lessons that I've learned, remember to be adaptable and then pivot. It's kind of a hard thing to do, but when you do that, these bigger issues go away, or you learn those lessons just like I did. Little decisions add up. Your business stands today because of a series of little decisions you made along the way. So take care of your decision-making power, slow down with your decisions, try not to make too many decisions at once, and take care of you. Treat yourself. Obviously, the business runs because of you. You deserve more than you're giving yourself. And what I always like to say at the end of the day, work hard and be nice to people. And really being nice is what leads to success for everyone on both sides. So thank you so much for listening to this. Please subscribe and wait for more things to come.